goodness sake. What? Right. Well, welcome everyone to EarthStar Freedom Friday. Here I am, Gerald Lopez with Tony Knight, Krypton Knight, who's today going to talk further about natural intelligence. And today Tony is going to talk to us about the earth element. So you remember a couple of weeks ago he was talking about the five elements, the five that form the natural laws, and today he's going to expand more on the earth element and tell us what it's about, and more importantly, probably for a lot of us, what we can do to help to balance that element and help build it up where it's lacking, and so that it provides what we need to have a balanced set of elements in our lives. So welcome, Tony. Thanks very much for being here again. And yeah.
Thanks, Gerald. It's great to be back on Freedom Friday. Yeah, it's like I call myself EarthStar, and that's actually a conscious decision because there's a direct connection between the Earth and the stars, or you could say our key star, which is the sun. And as Gerald said, we're going to look at the earth element. But you know, the earth, when you talk about earth, there's many different aspects to earth, and it's like, yeah, but how does the earth apply to me? How do we implement earth? What are the earth qualities? What does earth really mean? What does living on earth actually mean? And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to break down these abstract kind of terms and make them relevant to our actual life. It's the application and implementation of these earth aspects. But before I do that, I'm going to we talk about natural intelligence, and so this is all part of a wider context to give you an idea how everything fits together. So I call this the intelligence quotients. We often think of intelligence as just the IQ, but actually I contend, and many other people contend, that there's a lot more to intelligence than just the IQ, which means intelligent quotient, or your level of intellect. So because we're focused on Earth, this is what I also. Sorry, excuse me, my dog's barking. I just got to shut the door.
Meanwhile, hi Tahira, and hi Carolyn. Welcome to the show, and thanks a lot, Tahira, for sharing this video on golden truths and truth creators. Perhaps at some point we can even talk about your groups and see whether some of our visitors are interested to follow what you are doing. Tahira shares events which bring together truth creators and people who write about truth, and yeah, at some point maybe we might invite Tahira to tell us more about what she does. So yeah. You're back. Back.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So today, you know, the physical intel, or call it physical intel, or your physical intelligence, this is related to the earth element, directly related to the earth element. It relates to our physical body. It relates to physical structures, but particularly it relates to our body. And the body that we have is a highly intelligent, pretty automated system. The cellular structure, and within that we have various systems. As we have the immune system, we have the circulatory system, we have the respiratory system. So everything physical is made up of systems, which ultimately gives us our structure. Without a structure, we would not be able to do what we do on Earth. We wouldn't exist if we didn't have any structure, and we didn't have these systems, and we didn't have a physical body. So when we are using our body, there's a certain intelligence, hand-eye coordination, and the way we move, the way we walk, the way we sit. These are all related to physical intel. We also have our EQ, which I'll just quickly go over the others. EQ, which is emotional intelligence. This is related to our emotions, obviously, and the water element. Emotions is often referred to as energy in motion, because emotions can be very much a lot of movement within emotion. We can get very wild swings in emotions, and you can be up and down and all around. So we have to try and balance those out. And this is where the physical intel can come in, as well as the IQ, which is the intellect that we're talking about. It's a mental aspect of our life, and it relates to the air, the quality of air, because obviously thoughts, you could say, come from the air, or the air is the medium of our thoughts. And then we have, I call it SQ for spiritual intel, which is really related to our heart, and also coordination with our heart and our third eye, or our pineal gland as well. To me, spirituality is very much a coordination and integration of our heart and our higher mind. And this is a fire element. It's our passion, it's our purpose. And then we have natural intelligence, which I really see as all of the intels, all of the intelligences combined together. And the beauty of natural intel is that it can be gained by being in nature. We are a natural being. We have a lot of sayings like it's in his second nature to do that, or so what we're trying to do is create an automated life where all of the different aspects of our life, all the elements, all the aspects of intelligence are all integrated into one greater whole. And when we can get that on autopilot, when we can clear out the subconscious of all our programming and conditioning, and we can replace it with a natural design of our life where everything flows, where we're fully grounded in the earth, and we're very aware of our body, where we're very aware of our emotions and they're in control. We've got our emotions are balanced, and our intellect we're using our intellect rather than being used by the intellect. When we're in balance with our mental and emotional bodies, and when our spiritual fire is burning bright but it's not consuming us, when we're not actually getting burned, and we're actually we are a light being, and when we're shining our light, we will come into a beautiful we drop into this space, into the sort of quantum space where we're fulfilling our life purpose, where Everything is working in harmony. And this to me is one of our ultimate goals in life. And if I just go to the next slide. So this is a little model that I've just made up. This gives us some foundations. This is some earth. These are some examples of what earth foundations are and certain qualities and constructs. So our personality, who we are, is very much an earth-based foundation. And then within our personality, we have our beliefs, we have our senses, the interface. Our personality is kind of an interface between the physical world and our spiritual world. And then we can get into certain habits. Again, they can be bad habits or they can be good habits. So we have to know who we are, and we have to know our strengths and weaknesses in order that we can play to our strengths and eliminate those weaknesses. And so this comes with a certain conscious awareness. And within that, we'll have certain personalities that are more geared to the earth-based. We can get sort of earth-based personalities. You can have more air-based. We can have more emotional-based people, or more spiritual, more sort of abstract, floaty, very creative ideas people, but no earth at all, or very little. So this is where we need to know who we are and what our strengths and weaknesses are. So then we, as Gerald said, then we can look to build up those elements, those aspects, those IQs, the PQs, the SQs, and the EQs. We can then get to understand what we need to work on. Do we need to build something up? Do we need to maybe cool something down? Are we a bit too imbalanced in that we're only focused on one or two aspects of the elements, and we're not integrating the others into our life? Also, systems are an earth-based foundation. Earth is all about our base and about our foundation, and we need good systems. We need good systems in our business, in our personal life. We need systems within software systems, and we need systems everywhere. There's natural systems, there's earth-based systems, the soil has a system, the water cycle is a system, even the seasons could be seen as a system. So I see the systems, in my view, as the how question. How are we going to do it? What systems are we going to build? And how are we going to apply those systems? The mission statement could encompass some of those systems. Again, the mission is very much a how kind of question. We have marketing systems, we have sales systems, and these don't have to be just applied to business. These can be, we're always selling ourselves, and we're always marketing ourselves. We're always there trying to influence people. And so it doesn't have to be in a work setting. We can have systems for how we run our house. We can work out a system between our families, our friends, and our loved ones. So when I say marketing, that's really influencing. It's influencing. And it's selling why our ideas are good, or why we should follow a certain idea or a certain system. Also, systems are very related to planning. The process of planning is also very earth-based quality, and we need a roadmap. We need to set some goals. We need to know where we're going, and so this is where the systems can lead us to that.
I suppose it's about being pragmatic, isn't it? Earth people are pragmatic and practical people.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They're also very detailed people, usually. So you can work out your personality when you study the different elements. And if you study them in action and nature, you can get an idea. Like you just watch, you observe how water flows and how it can be very still. And when it's still, it's like a mirror, can reflect. And when it's rough, it's got a whole different quality about it. And rivers, and the way they flow, and the way oceans behave. And if you look at the earth, I mean, it's the most dense. It's the most dense element. It's physical. It's got structure. It's the most structured element. And this is why it's our foundation. Because if we didn't have a good structural 3D base, then we wouldn't be able to be settled. We wouldn't be able to be settled in our life. If we've got no earth under our feet, we're always going to be unsteady. We're always going to be off balance. So we need a good base. And this is what earth provides, is structure. In the bottom there's the structure. To me, the structure is the what question. It's what are we building? What type of business? What are we going to do? What are we building? And we can look at the structure within our finances. We can look at the software systems and things like artificial intelligence and the coding in certain things as our structure. Code is something I'm going to go into more. To me, natural intelligence is very much about understanding our code. We're encoded beings through our DNA. And the DNA is our key, is our master key. It's our master code. And that has a structure to it, the double helix. And so this is going down into the deeper layers of our being. But this is what provides us with our current structure, our genetic code. And just as we have that, well, we've been talking about cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has its own code, and this is how the coding is done will determine the actual currency and how it operates in the real world. So this is very important. This is sort of out of sight, so it tends to be out of mind for people, but we have to look at these little tiny details because they are important. So our structure is like our vehicle, and our vehicle, just like any vehicle, it has to be fit for purpose. We have to be moving in the right direction. And if we've got a good structure, we will move towards our purpose and towards our vision. And the products and services that we're selling can also have a certain structure, and they are also important if we're in a work-based setting. So this is one Trinity. I like to use the Trinity. We've spoken about this before, that good things come in threes. Threes are the foundation in itself. So there's many different levels. It's a very multi-level type of building process we're doing here. So the three together creates a foundation, but each individual part, our personality, our system, and our structure, is a foundation as well in itself. But when you coalesce them together, then you can create a project or a business or a relationship or a life that is very well integrated, and it creates a very firm foundation which to springboard from. So that's how I see that. Now I've got another. There's another trinity here. This is another system on a slightly more larger level, if you like. So we have a system. We have a base in the form of our home. Now this is like this is the basics of life. We should have shelter. We need shelter. We need food, and we really need our family. These are the core foundations of a good life. And when we've got our home, this is why land is so important, um, both in a physical sense as well as an intrinsic level. Like a fundamental level is if everyone has a plot of land, it's not about ownership, and this is why the world is so distorted. If people are displaced and they're living, you know, on the move, and they haven't got any real base, they haven't got any real anything to base their life on. They've got no home to go to. Well, they're going to be very unsettled. It's going to be very unsettled. But even more than that, when we're on our land, this is why in the old days they called those that had land, they called them landed estates. And it is about an estate. It's a state of being, and being landed means you are grounded, you are fixed, you are home, you've got your piece of turf. And when I see all this, the way the world's going, and people are, let alone those that are, displaced, then there's those who are like living in little apartments, you're raised up off the land. This is not ideal for us beings. We're earth-based beings. We need to live on the earth and be connected to the earth. So when you've got your land, then you've got a base, then you're going to have a more solid connection with your relationships when you are, I believe, when you're fully connected to the land. And then with finances is also an earth foundation. This is also key to a stable kind of life, a stable, solid life. We've got to have good finances. And finances can be broken up into assets, which ideally assets include land, but they also include other tangible assets. Something that produces an income is what an asset is, or in the form of land, it's equity or capital. They call it capital, and this is where the word a capital society or capitalization. But what it really means is it means that you've got something solid behind you. This is why gold and silver have been seen as assets for thousands of years, because they hold their value, because they're scarce, and because they're used in industry, or they're used as a hedge, as something that is solid. And then we've got our cash flow. So the cash flow is got a connection to the water. It's why it's called liquidity. Cash flows in, so we need both. We need both cash flow and we need good solid assets. And then you could say our work and our career, that's what brings in the cash flow, or that's what that's what helps us to create assets. So our work and career is very connected to our assets, to our finances. And through this, we can leave a legacy. This is what the super rich in our world today, we call them the elites, which are really, they're not elite. They're really, but they, the cabal or whatever, they are very good at passing their finances down through their families and generations, and they've done it for so many years. This is how they've got very, very super wealthy, and this is why the world's getting out of balance. too few people holding too much of the wealth, and us people, we're very destabilized when we don't have money, when we don't have enough asset and cash flow coming in. Then we're putting all of our valuable energy is going out, and there's nothing coming back. So this is why I believe nature is a very critical part of this trinity, because nature is where we come from. It's our energy source. So again, this is very connected to our home base and having some land, or having a place where we can go to connect with the land, or being part of a community. It doesn't have to be privately owned. I see more and more people now creating retreat style living. But nature is our key energy source. And it's also where we can get our key health from, through that energy. Really, health is really energy on all levels: mentally, emotionally, physically, intellectually, spiritually. And nature has many parts to it. We've got the trees, and we've got the vegetation, and we've got animals, and we've got the soil, and we've got minerals, and we've got the air, and the sun. This is all part of nature. But then we've got the whole Earth planet, and the Earth planet as a whole it's another example of harmony with all the elements combined. It's not just the Earth. The planet itself exists because of the sun, and because of the air and the water and the actual Earth, and then the elements of Earth, when you break them down: the vegetation, animals, minerals, rocks, soil, the microbes in the soil. You can really drill down into the tinier and tinier elements until eventually you reach the basic subatomic level, which everything is connected, everything is energy, everything's in vibration. It's just that with the Earth, it's a slower vibration, but it needs to be, so that it can anchor our higher vibration mind, heart, and spiritual aspects. So this is where we need to be grounded. We must be grounded, just like a house is grounded in its electricity. Otherwise, it's live. And if you've got a live house, it's extremely dangerous. And a very ungrounded person is quite dangerous to themselves in many ways, because you're a live wire, and you're not going to achieve anything in a nice harmony and balance. So we need all the elements coalesce together, but we have to be anchored on the Earth, and for those other elements to be able to take hold. So on that note, I focus on the physical health, because physical health is very important for this Earth element. And the physical health can be broken down into exercise, movement, a critical part of our health. And this is what helps create more breath. When we're working a bit of exercise, we're going to be breathing deeper. We're going to be breathing in more oxygen. We're going to be expelling more CO2. And it's that cycle. That's another cycle of breath out and breath in. And moving our body is giving us more physical intelligence. Literally, it's exciting all the cells. It's moving the blood and plasma around our body. So exercise is critical to good health. And then food is becoming extremely important in this day and age, with food getting tainted with so many contaminants and toxins. And this ties into us in our own land and we grow our own food. I think growing food now is a key way of having abundance. If we've got shelter and we've got good food, particularly our own grown food that's organic, I think that this is what's going to help us get through these next few years, which are going to be rocky. They're going to be tumultuous. They're going to be, there's all sorts of things going on. So food is another way to anchor ourselves into the earth element. Food is literally what grounds us as well. So our diet must be good. Lots of veggies, lots of fruit, lots of enough protein, less carbohydrates that are processed, and more natural carbohydrates like potato, um, and then you can break it down even more. Like potatoes are more an earth-based food. Root vegetables are very earthy, whereas fruit and veggies are more lighter and so less grounding. So you can even break the food down into its components that are more more earth-based. And then we've got water. We're 80% water at least. Our water has an intelligence in itself. It holds consciousness. It's very impressionable. When we have a shock, an emotional shock, it leaves an imprint on our body and on our water, on our waters, on our blood. And so we are very sensitive beings. And there are people out there that are extra sensitive, extra emotional, very right-brained. And so we must balance that out with earth and with the mental side of things as well. And our heart, not just the lower emotions. There's lower emotion and then there's feelings. And so you can break the water up into the higher feelings are far more refined and far more balancing than lower emotions that are just running all uncontrolled. You're going to be out of balance. So with water comes the minerals, because then water carries the minerals, the proper salts, minerals, and this is bringing us hydration. It's all physical intelligence. A lot of health problems are either lack of mineral or too much chemical, too much toxin. And minerals are just vital for energy, absolutely critical, particularly magnesium, zinc. These are critical because they help to absorb other minerals. Then we have sunshine. So you notice these are all relevant to the elements. They're all relevant to the elements. They're all fundamental key planks of our life. So the sunshine's related to our sun. It's related to the fire element. Without the sun, there would be no earth. We would not survive. It also gives us the key vitamin D, which is actually not a vitamin. It's more like a hormone. And when we are out of the sun for too long, that's why we get grumpy in winter. We should take a quality vitamin D in winter. This is the big cause of why people get flus, because their vitamin D is missing. So we should be taking extra vitamin D now with this whole coronavirus. I'm going to call it a hoax because it is a hoax. We need to come back to reality. We need to get back to nature. That is the best healer. Nature is the best medicine. And so, of course, the sunshine brings us light. We are light beings. We've got light receptors. Plants wouldn't grow without light. Light creates photosynthesis in plants, and it's that process that brings the sugars into the plants, the proper natural sugars, and it creates its structure in the plant. And then when we eat that, we're literally eating liquids or condensed sunshine, along with the minerals that the sun literally produces in the plant, along with good healthy soil, which is also absolutely critical. Without it, the plant being in good quality soil, without us being planted and on the earth, nothing would grow at all. There would be no minerals, there'd be no little microorganisms. And then the ether element, and you could relate ether to meditation, to the very refined prana, which is like the scalar energy or quantum energy that's within every single atom. Everything in the universe is made of ether. And solfeggio music is a very beautiful, the beautiful tones that help to harmonize all our chakras. And if you listen to the solfeggio music, it's incredibly balancing and very meditative. And so finally, just to wrap up, is I am running a sort of a financial thread, and I'm talking about cryptocurrencies every alternate week. I'm also talking about finances, because I see this as a key foundation particularly for this time. So again, you can have certain, we can go down into more refined versions of foundation, in that the blockchain, as far as cryptocurrency is concerned, the blockchain is its foundation. And then within that, it's the coding. And this is why when you're analyzing cryptos, you should look at the coding formula, or the protocol, it's called, that it's based on. POS means proof of stake. DLT means distributed ledger technology. POW means proof of work. Proof of work is what Bitcoin's based on. It's what the Ethereum is based on. And now that is actually old tech. Technology has moved on from that now. So I don't subscribe to the proof of work anymore. I'm looking at proof of stake, and now there's a new version called delegated proof of stake, which brings in more input from other people in the system, which is a discussion in itself for another day. Then in this trinity, I also think the people behind the project is critical. Like any business, if you're looking at buying a business, or the people that run it, the people that are creating it, the people that are maintaining it, you've got to look at their integrity. You've got to look at how balanced they are, what's their weaknesses and strengths, what's their purpose, what's their vision. When you're doing anything or aligning with anyone or investing in a project, you've got to get the background on the people. It's absolutely key. And then, like we did earlier in this presentation, we can look at their personalities. We can look at our own personalities. So that's very important. And then for me, the key thing that makes a good financial investment or a good crypto is its use case. If it's not going to be used in the real world, it's not going to hold its value. I contend that 80% of the cryptos on the market today are going to be gone in 2 or 3 years, because they cannot all survive. A lot of them are trying to occupy the same use case. They're all vying for them to be the one, and they can't all be the one. And there will be other secondary ones, and there will be others, but obviously they will become less and less important, and therefore less and less value. And then you've got to look at the problem they're solving. And use case comes with adoption. The more people that adopt it, the more people that believe in the project, the more people that believe in the currency, then the more value it's going to have, the more leverage you'll have, which means a higher price. So got to look at anything in life, whatever you're doing as well. We've got to be solving problems, because that's how we get paid. That's how we get more money's coming to us, the bigger problem we're solving. It's so critical. So if we're looking at an investment, or we're looking at a crypto, or we're looking at a business, or even if we're looking at other people, we can look at what they are solving, and we can maybe align with them. We've got to realize that money is just a symbol of the degree of which we're solving problems. It is our return, it's our exchange for solving a problem. The bigger the problem, the more money you're going to get, and then with a pay it forward kind of attitude, with a more community-based attitude, then we will always be giving some of it back, which allows everything to flow in the cycle. Just like seasons roll from winter to summer to winter, spring, or starting in spring, that's where the sowing happens, and the summer, it's where we get active, the autumn when we harvest, and the winter when we reflect, go within for it all to start again. Everything's happening in cycles. So that's basically my presentation for today. We can take any questions. Sort of covered a lot of things there, and some of it you might think, what? I didn't catch that. I tried to catch up. But, if anyone's got any questions or any comments, I'd love to hear it. Or Gerald, if you've got anything you wanted to add, anything you want to add to what I said, and put full stops.
Full stops, but any punctuation. Yes. Yes. I mean, I used to practice Ayurvedic medicine, and the basis of Ayurvedic medicine, which is the traditional ancient Indian system of medicine, is really the five elements. I mean, they talk about doshas and all that, but actually the doshas are based on the five elements. And and yes, you are right in terms of all the elements. That the foundation is earth, and it relates to our survival, I suppose. And I think a lot of anxiety that people have nowadays around the situation in the world is the fact that there's so much moving, there's so much change going on, and there is that lack of foundation, that lack of solidity, and so the outcome of that is anxiety, and
Exactly.
and this is where, when we studied people in Ayurvedic medicine, or people who are anxious, what they would benefit from is grounding, is earthing. So, for instance, in terms of structure, like you said, structure, a lot of people who are flighty and anxious tend to have a bad structure in their routines. For instance, they wake up at this time, eat at that time, and then every day it's different. So if they bring structure into their time, then that'll help to ground them. If they bring structure into their activities and into their where they live and all that, and use grounding colors, maybe something a little bit more earthy, and as you said, with their diet, eat more earthy foods. So bringing all those, being aware of all those qualities of earth and bringing them together, people will find that then that settles them down, and that settles the anxieties down. Then they can start thinking more clearly and solving their life's issues more with clarity. So yeah, I think what you are saying is like really important, and this is something where I feel also that in the new age that has come and gone, it came in the 60s and 70s, 80s, and is kind of lingering on, but a lot of the focus of the new age was on airy kind of things, spiritual ether, and I kind of got the sense that a lot of people were denying their earthiness. They were trying to reject earthiness, reject the world. They were trying to reject materiality. They were trying to reject money and all those things. And I think that has caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. And so they have to bring their mind round again to welcome abundance, to welcome structure, to welcome materiality, and to welcome living on this earth and not trying to escape from it. Does that?
Well,
do you think? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, this thing with I've seen it a lot in the spiritual New Age movement myself, because I've been involved in it for 27 years, and myself, I did the same. I rejected money. I thought money was somehow bad. I ignored my body completely. I treated my body like a machine. I just, I never gave it any I never gave my body any love. I mean, I was just like, come on, it was all part of, I guess our growth as a human. And I realized that I was very hard on myself, and I was always ignoring pain. Come on, just push through the pain and all that sort of rubbish. And I realized how this was just holding me back, because I had a lot of good ideas, but I could never understand why they weren't getting implemented and why they couldn't take hold. And it was because of my fundamental beliefs that money was bad and my body was just a machine, and I'm striving for the spiritual nirvana. But if you don't recognize your body as your vehicle to house your spirit, to house your soul, without a good vehicle, which is what our body is, we're not going to get very far. So that was a huge awakening for me on itself, going through that process. So I don't contend on being like, Scrooge McDuck and sitting on a pile of money. And money is just the medium of exchange. It's energy, and people just need to realize that it's meant to flow. So, and we're meant to receive it so that we can give it away. And the more hands it touches, the more it enriches everyone. It's just like electricity. I use that analogy a lot. Money flows in circular motions, just like energy does. And if we can see it as an energy, then we don't need to get hung up on this, that it's somehow evil. Or, I mean, we know we've touched on this before, previous things, so I don't need to go on and on about it. But it's just about having everything in its proper place and proper, having things properly integrated. As I say, that when you focus on the nature, and it's amazing just by observing nature how you can come into a space where everything starts to feel in harmony. And just by observing how nature works and observing ourselves, witnessing ourselves in that stillness and silence, is a wonderful regenerator of our energy, because we're not thinking a zillion thoughts. We can start just focusing on one train of thought, and realizing that our bodies and our earth and our finances are important for our foundation is critical to me.
Yeah, well, someone said, Michael and Tish Danks have said, I appreciate the discussion about how business fits in, as well as money, as I've been considering starting a business for a while, and this discussion about balance of all is great. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah, it is. I mean, someone who's going into business, obviously, if we haven't got good health and we're not connected to an energy source, and if we haven't got those other aspects of life, a good home base and good people around us, we're only as strong as the weakest link. And wherever that weak link is, that's your point of, that's the point where we need to focus. We need to unblock the pipe, so to speak. So that can be done by many different ways, which maybe as time goes on we can look at more details of certain issues. But for now, I'm just trying to present a bit of an overview so that people may capture a bit of what I'm saying, and then we can go on a journey.
Great. Any questions, anyone? Anything from the presentation that aroused your interest or got you questioning? So yeah, while waiting for questions, so what's next, Tony? As you know, we've been alternating Freedom Fridays with EarthStar Freedom Fridays. So the Freedom Friday is focused more on the financial side, and especially on what is the latest in financial, which is the blockchain and cryptocurrency, and really clarifying what it's all about, because blockchain and cryptocurrency has only been adopted by something like 0.5% of the world's population. So is that right, Tony? And so
I think the adoption, I think it's getting up there into more like 5% now.
Okay. So it's, and that has occurred probably over just 1 year or 2 years. Very, very quickly it's building.
Or even the last 6 months.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's growing rapidly because people are realizing that there is a massive change coming in there. When we talk foundations, we talk about our whole world financial foundation. Clearly, it's basically based on quicksand. We're the ones who are getting sucked down the hole, and it's collapsing all around us. People I'm sure most people here can see that, and this is why even more so we need to get on a solid footing with our finances. And crypto, I contend that crypto holds the keys and secrets to us being able to do that. But crypto, like anything in the world, it's not all created equal. There's true encrypted money, and then there's other types of digital money that really just emulate the current system, or could do. So this is why our awareness is so key, so that we can gravitate to those true kind of projects that are protecting our privacy, protecting our freedom of speech, protecting, enhancing transparency, enhancing immutability, which means that nothing can be manipulated or changed after the fact. And this is where the world is moving into a two-tiered world. If you look at America, you could consider America like the head of our world system. It's diverged into two. You've got two camps there, political camps that are completely polarized, and I believe under that we've got two basic financial systems that are trying to vie for supremacy. And then out of that we've got two primary camps of people who are sort of divided, and where a lot of people are throwing stones across the ditch. There's this sort of fight about to vaccinate or not vaccinate, or is coronavirus real or not? Is it man-made or not? Is there really a cabal running the show, or is that just conspiracy? And it's just, the world is becoming more and more divergent. It's not. It's becoming more and more split into two main camps. And we have to be sure that we're taking the right fork in the road right now. Because if we don't, we could find ourselves in another pit.
So this is where we, Tony has been doing a lot of research, and I have been doing research as well, and where we can share with you our discoveries and maybe offer you some avenues where you can do your research. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's Michael and Tish Danks have or has asked, would you suggest a minimum starting investment in crypto that is worthwhile or the most effective? I'm coming from a perspective of minimal financial capital. Maybe too general a question. Well, I'll just answer quickly and then I'll hand it to you, Tony. Is a lot of people say, even though crypto looks really promising at the moment, don't bet the farm. So they would say, well, try it with say maybe 5% of what you've got available to play around with, and get to know it now, get to know how it works, and then as you do your research, you'll start seeing where to put your funds in and where are the best places to go. So what do you think, Tony, on that question?
Yeah, never invest more than what you can afford to lose. Don't go into big hock on your credit card to buy crypto. But the beauty with crypto is that you can invest a relatively small amount, and with some of the functions that crypto offers, you can, like with proof of stake, you can earn an additional passive income just from what's called staking. Staking is the digital crypto equivalent of putting your money in a term deposit in the old system. And also, there's still some very good cryptos there that are around $1 or less than $1. And I believe some of these are going to be the rails for a whole new system that's going to be far more beneficial. So for a relatively small amount, I only invested fairly small amounts in the beginning, and now they've grown to be quite larger amounts. And I've just kind of reinvested some of my gains into some other projects. And like you say, Gerald, just by working with a bit of it and playing around and learning how to buy it, how to store it, how to trade, or how to swap for others, you then a whole new vista opens up. You start to you pick things up once you start working with it. So you've actually got to take some action and do it, and even a couple of $100 can start to grow relatively quickly, because there's a huge tsunami coming where the world is moving into a whole new type of system based on crypto. And so there is a great opportunity now to get ahead of the curve, because we contend that probably 5 to 10% of the population are looking or have crypto. I'd say another 10 or 20% are looking at it now, but the majority of the people are still asleep at the wheel. They're not interested in it. They don't understand how it works. They don't want to do any work to look at it because it seems too hard. It's too technical. They've got to use their critical thinking. You've got to use your left brain a bit with cryptos and technology. But I believe we've got to start being a fully functional human and using our left and right brains and our spiritual and physical self. This is what this is all about. You can't just look at one or two aspects of life and ignore the others. So, I hope that's answered your question. Yeah, get in.
Yes.
Now is a good time, because
Yes.
it's called the great wealth transfer is in play right now.
Yeah.
I cannot stress that enough. It is a wealth transfer going on. Money, assets, wealth needs to find a new home because the old system is dying and it's going to crash and burn. It is.
Yes. Well, on that note,
why I've studied this for so many years.
yeah,
I've seen the cycle because when you study cycles, you can understand how the financial system works. It's all cyclic. Everything is cyclic. Everything has its day. Every dog has its day, and then it moves. But if you can move with the cycles, you can catch the next wave without getting
that's right.
left behind.
That's right.
So that's what I'm about. We can go into more detail on certain things. We can look at the financial system if we need to. But yeah, this is our Natural Intelligence Week. Next week is Krypton Night Week. Krypton Night is more related to the crypto and the finances. Natural Intelligence is related to EarthStar and the spiritual material element side. But I call them all Freedom Friday because it's all related to freedom.
Yeah,
that's an overview context.
And that happens on the Krypton Night private. Is it a private group?
Yep.
Well, it's a group. Yeah, it's a private group, right?
Yep.
So look for it on Facebook, Krypton-Night, as in Tony Knight. And join in there, and that live stream happens on alternate Fridays. So perhaps Tony, perhaps we could even think about Michael and Tish Dank's question about setting up business, because now the blockchain is offering many opportunities for doing business. Yesterday, for instance, I'm a photographer, and I put a photograph of mine, a favorite photograph, and I made a crypto token out of it and put it on the crypto marketplace, and the possibilities are really exciting. In fact, a digital artist, sold his digital art. It was sold by Christie's. It was a crypto art, and it was sold for $69 million sometime last week or very recently. So it's just like the possibilities are incredible. People are going into that space. People are making money in that space, and they want to invest and they want to spend. So there's some food for thought about running businesses using this space, and I think we are all kind of Tony and I are researching that at the moment because it's really really exciting.
So come into the group, and I'll share candidly what I believe are good projects. I'm not holding on to the information. I'm freely giving it out, and I listen to a lot of videos, and I'm hearing some stuff that's coming from the horse's mouth, so to speak. From the key people involved. If I recommend a project, XRP, XLM, which is also called Stellar, Cardano, brilliant.
Yeah. So well, thanks very much, everyone. It's already 5 o'clock, 3:05. We'll see you. Hopefully, you'll come and join us next Friday on Krypton Night, on Freedom Friday, and then in the following Friday we'll have the next installment of EarthStar Freedom Friday. Thanks very much, everyone, and thank you, Tony, for joining us and sharing with us. It's been fantastic.
Thanks. It's been good. It's great to be here. I'm really enjoying it. It's all about freedom, and it's all about freedom for all. So I'm just doing my bit to try and pass on my knowledge.
Great. Thanks. Okay then. Bye, everyone.
See you, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for coming.